Assalamu alaikum. Hello and welcome everyone to my show Connecting with Saima. I hope everyone is doing great and very excited to see my show again. My today's guest is very beautiful and talented Yameena. Yameena is here with us today, and we're gonna chat with her. And Assalamu alaikum, Yameena.
Wa alaikum assalam. Saima, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
How are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm excited. I'm excited to chat with you. I'm excited to communicate with your audience. I think it's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, okay, nice. And how was your day so far?
You know what? Every day for me, it's very busy. I normally wake up before sunrise because that's normally the only time in the day where I have some peace. So I wake up before sunrise, I make myself a drink, I do some reading. This morning I was actually reading the biography of the Prophet Muhammad. And then I watched the sun come up. I spent some time with my husband because he's also very busy. So it was just, and then after that, basically clients, calls, meetings, work, everything like that, which is also fun. But it was nice. It's nice to start the day with some peace,
of course,
work, and now I'm here with you. So everything is going well so far.
So your office is in Toronto or somewhere in Mississauga?
So my office is in Toronto, but actually most of my clients, they prefer to meet online.
Oh.
So even I have clients that live like 10 minutes away, and they prefer to meet online because it's so much more convenient, right?
Because this is a new norm, right?
It's the new normal,
Yeah.
exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
So even though, of course, I do still have people who prefer to meet in person, and it's also nice, right? For me, for you, sometimes to leave the house.
Of course.
To get the personal interaction.
Because we lived in the house for so long, right? During pandemic.
Yeah, it's a different energy too, right? And especially with my field where I do have to look at people's documents and their resumes and their passports, sometimes it's nice to meet in person, yeah.
Okay, that's great. So when did you finish your law school?
Yeah, so I graduated from law school in 2020. I had gone to the University of Victoria, which is in beautiful British Columbia. And then after I graduated from law school, I actually decided to work in Alberta. So I was working in the criminal courts in Alberta. And so I was that lawyer that you see on TV going, "Objection, Your Honor." In real life, it's actually not as exciting as it is in the movies,
in
unfortunately.
The movies yeah. I know, I got it. I know.
The outfits are not great. There's no scandals in the office. And we never frame people for crimes they haven't done. At least I was never involved with anything like that. So I was working in the criminal courts. I was working for the government. So my job was to assist victims. I mainly worked with victims of domestic violence, which is still something that is so close to my heart and so important. So I was doing that. I was working criminal law, and then I wanted to come back to Ontario. So I came back, and I was actually working with Indigenous peoples. So I was supporting them in getting more land, getting more access to water, which is also something that's very close to my heart because we both come from colonized people, right? We come from a history of our lands being dispossessed by the British. So that was also such a privilege to serve Indigenous peoples. But then eventually I felt, okay, it's great helping other peoples with decolonization, but I wanted to come home to my people, to work with my community. And that's when I realized, okay, the next step, it's immigration law, working with my people, and that's what I've been doing for the recently, and it's been incredible.
That's great. Yeah. So you wanted to be a lawyer always, or you changed your mind in high school or in university?
I didn't have idea actually about what I wanted to do. I was all over the place, and even when I finished my undergraduate degree, I did my undergraduate degree in philosophy actually from the University of Toronto, and I had this list of these different professions that I could do, and I had everything on there. I was going to be a homeopathic doctor, I was going to be a professional painter, and then lawyer was just one of the options on the list. And so I went through and I researched all of them. I was very serious. I actually even had gone to homeopathic doctor school. I went to school for that for 2 years. So I had all these different ideas, and then eventually I realized that what I'm really excellent at is advocacy. So oral advocacy, reading well in a very critical manner, writing persuasively. And I realized, wow, okay, this is all lines up really well with being a lawyer. And I decided, okay, I need to pursue this path, because to me, we need to pick the profession that will allow us best to serve humanity. That was always what was told to me. That was my understanding. So when I looked at the gifts that God has given me and the jobs that are available, it was obvious. I need to be a lawyer. This is the path that God has laid out for me that will allow me to help the most people with the gifts that I naturally possess.
All right, that's nice to hear. So do you see any challenges in your everyday life in this field? Because it's very male dominating, right? The law. Yeah, so
I think there's a lot of different challenges that I experience. I think one of the main challenges that I actually experience, I think this is not unique to me. I think anybody who works in a profession where we deal intimately with people and we're deeply feeling people and we're invested in helping them, it can be challenging to hear people's stories.
yeah, and nowadays actually women are doing everything, right? So there is no profession just for the woman or just for the male, right? Right? You agree, right?
We are absolutely capable of doing anything, and I actually think being a woman, especially in law, is an advantage. You know why? Because men, they want to speak to me. Because men, they feel comfortable with women. And you know who else? Women. Women feel comfortable with women. Because women, especially Muslim women, they don't feel comfortable going and sharing their personal details with anybody.
Yes.
So to me, being a female lawyer, in a lot of ways, it's an asset. And also they've done studies on this, and they have found that women are better communicators. So if you're looking for someone who's going to listen to you and that you're going to feel comfortable talking to, which is mainly what lawyers do, we listen to people and we help them solve their problems, then being a woman, I think it's an advantage.
Yeah, and they understand more, right? Women, they understand other people's problem, right? And especially if other person is a woman, right?
I mean, I think with women, and I'm sure this resonates with you as well, we have more problems.
Yes, but
Right?
we try to help other people too,
Exactly. We have more problems, so we know what it's like.
Because we are multitaskers, right?
We're multitaskers, and we've been put down by somebody, right? Somebody has put us down, so we know what it's like to be down, and we want to help other people so they don't have to experience that.
True.
So I think it's not the easiest blessing in the world to be a woman, but I think it's a blessing.
So which communities are you involved more? Like all communities, like more Pakistani, Indian, Afghanistan, Syria, are like like everyone probably, right?
So because I do serve clients in Urdu and Hindi, so because of that, I have a good amount of clients that are South Asian. Either they're South Asian, they're based in India or Pakistan, or they're South Asian, but they're based abroad. So they could be based in the Middle East, or they're based in the UK. But apart from that, the rest of my client base, it's people from everywhere. So I have Americans, I have people who live in different countries in Africa, and it's honestly, it's a delight to serve everyone, because I feel like I'm always very knowledgeable about what's happening in the world.
Of course. So, Yameena, how do you balance your family and your career? Because the law is a very, you have to read, you have to study, you have to do going so much to do, right? So, how do you balance it? How do you give time to your husband, your mom, your brother?
So, Saima, I actually got very lucky. I think I am one of the privileged people where it's not that I have to balance family and life, it's that my family is supporting my career. So if I don't have time that day or that week to cook because I'm really busy with work, I just tell my husband, hey, can you help me out? And he will do it, right? And that's been that way since I went to law school. There were weeks where I just could not cook, I could not clean. This morning, actually, I was really struggling because I have a little bit of a cough, but I had meetings all day, like I told you. So my husband, he went down to the pharmacy and he brought me the cough syrup so that tonight I would be prepared. So for me, I'm one of the lucky people where it's not, okay, how am I going to take care of this person and that other person? I feel like everybody is lifting me up. Because honestly, there is no other way to do this. You know, people always ask like women, oh, how do you do it all? There's no way to do it all without burning yourself out, without making yourself really upset, without not doing a good job. So I think that whole expectation of women doing it all needs to kind of collapse because we don't expect men to do it all, right? So why should I do it all?
Of course, it's 50-50, right?
It's 50-50. So I don't do it all. But you know, it's not a one-way street either. Like when my partner, he was doing his MBA, I was the one working. So he got that support from me at that time to make sure that there was food on the table, that our bills was paid.
Now it's your turn, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So it goes both ways.
Yeah. We are going for a break and we're going to see you soon. Welcome back, everyone. Here we're gonna start with Yameena again. Yameena, welcome back.
Thank you.
What would you like to suggest today's youth, as everyone, the little kids, even the high schoolers, they don't want to work hard. Everyone wants to be a YouTuber. They want to be millionaire overnight. What do you suggest them? The study is still important, right?
I think that it's always important to pursue your dreams and pursue your passions. And as we talked about before, I had a lot of interesting dreams and passions and actually did pursue some of them. So I was actually a painter. I used to sell my paintings. So I also myself had dreams of being an artist. I'm also a poet. So I published several poems and I still do that to this day. I love to teach yoga. So I do actually teach yoga once a week. So I do also have all of these creative outlets and these passions. I think what kind of surprised me, however, was when I first left my parents' house, started pursuing my creative passions. I had this very bohemian idea that I was just gonna live my bohemian lifestyle with my cool artsy friends, and then all of a sudden I realized I didn't have enough money to pay my bills. And not being able to pay your bills is a lot cooler in a musical than it is in real life. And all of a sudden I realized how much I appreciate a $5 latte and also the ability to live in downtown Toronto. So definitely, I think there's nothing wrong with pursuing your passions, and it's still something that I do to this day. And there are people who are able to harness that into a full-time career. And I would never discourage anybody from trying to harness that into a full-time career. But at the same time, I'm so happy that I did pursue my law degree and that I have something that is able to provide me a comfortable life. And I think what's really interesting too is I'm able to bring my passions into my law degree. So I love poetry. Poetry is play on words. That's exactly what lawyers do. We play with words to advance our arguments. I'm a small business owner. A big part of that is developing my own marketing, developing my own website. So all of these ideas that I have about color, palette, texture, I actually apply these every day when I make my business card, when I make my letterheads, when I make my pamphlets. So I think it's all good all together, having these passions and pursuing them, but always having that backup plan. And we can always marry these as well, right? Like my mom always says, anything that you learn in life, it's never wasted. So even if we're learning something on the artistic side, we can always apply that to the more rigid side of life as well.
Even we learn from people. If we meet new people, we learn from them, right?
Of course.
Yeah. And you were telling me your brother is also the lawyer, right?
Yeah, my brother is a lawyer. So that's been really, really amazing as well, because he's 3 years older than me. So he's really coached me a lot and helped me a lot in terms of how to get it accepted into law school, and then all of the different dynamics that happen, because I'm sure you've heard that law school is a really demanding place and there's a lot of pressure and there's a lot of competition. So he coached me through that experience. And then when I was starting my firm, because he had also previously had his own law firm, so he had a lot of different ideas about what I could do to make myself successful. So I definitely think that that's an advantage and a privilege that I've had, that I have known many lawyers that have supported me. And I do think it's more challenging for folks that don't know lawyers. But the one thing I'll say is that, many lawyers, myself included, I'm happy to speak to people that are hoping to enter the profession, but they just don't have somebody to talk to. Generally, we try to be a really welcoming and inclusive bunch. And if there's any viewers out there that are watching that are considering a legal career and want someone to chat to, I mentor a lot of young people, high schoolers, people who are doing their undergraduate degree, law students. I even mentor lawyers. So if there are people who need someone to support them, I'm definitely there for them.
So Yameena, you are definitely inspiration for many women, right, in these days. Why today's women need to be independent? Why they need their own money? Why they need a profession? Because in back, they were not working, they were just staying home, just taking care of the kids. Nowadays, the women are doing everything, working at home, taking care of the kids. They are taking care of their husbands, their in-laws. They're running their businesses, and they're very successful. Okay? So do you have any opinion about it?
I do think one of the most important jobs that we can do as humans is be at home, make a beautiful home, raise children. So I will never say that that's not an important job.
That's the main role for the woman.
That is the main role, right? And that's all of our responsibility to do that. So I never want to say, if somebody is at home and they're making their home a beautiful, safe space and they're raising children, that is one of the most important things that anybody can do. I think for me, and I think part of this is because I'm impacted by my own experience working with women that have experienced domestic violence. For me, the thing that always comes into my mind, the fear that comes into my mind and that I saw happening, was that there were so many women in so many challenging situations. It could be something small, it could be emotional comments made, or maybe the husband is withholding money, or maybe it's more serious, maybe it's physical violence, maybe it's the woman is not allowed to leave the home at all. But when I see that whatever end of the gradient people are on, the thing that I notice is that those women, they are trapped, and they're usually also trapped financially. They don't have another option. So I've often spoken to domestic violence victims. I've tried to support them through their journeys, and what they've told me is that he hits me, but where can I go? I don't have any career. I don't have any skills to acquire a job. I don't have that confidence in myself. So for me, I think I feel more, I'm very loved, I'm very well taken care of in my marriage, but I feel more comfortable and confident knowing that nobody is even in a position to take advantage of me. And I think that is the power that I think all women deserve to have, is that knowledge that nothing bad can happen to them because they're in control of their lives. And I think that's what a career gives to a woman. You leave your house every day, you see other people, you're connected to the community, you earn your own money, and I think it makes your partner respect you more. I think it makes your family respect you more, and I think you yourself respect yourself more because you're powerful.
Of course. So today's woman is more modern, they are different, they think differently than our mom's times, right? So what do you say about it? Like how modern today's woman is, and how do they think?
I definitely think historically there wasn't as many women who were entering the job market, and I think that we didn't have the same opportunities. But I think there were always women that were trailblazers. And for me, I'm definitely privileged to come from that line of female trailblazers. My mom, for example, she was a medical school graduate. And as soon as she left medical school, she set up her own clinic on the outskirts of Lahore, helping villagers. And these people had no money.
Lahore, Pakistan, right?
In Lahore, Pakistan, yeah. So they would pay her in like chickens and goats and ducks. So she'd always be bringing these exotic meats home for us to eat. And then before that was my grandmother, my dadi, so on my dad's side. And she had a master's. So this is in the early 1900s. She got a master's, and she was the head of a school. And she, when there was the partition of India and Pakistan, she came over on the train to Pakistan. And so for me, I feel extremely privileged to come from a long line of women that were breaking those barriers. But I know now that I'm older that was extremely rare, that most women didn't have those opportunities to go to school, to decide their own careers. And I even see how it's easier for me because of them. Like with my mom, for example, she's a doctor, but every time there would be a letter sent to our house, it would always be Mrs. and Dr. Shaheen, because it never entered anybody's imagination that it was my mom who was the doctor. It was Mr. and Dr.
So it's not her own identity, basically your dad's.
Yeah, people, it never entered their mind. Or people would come up to my parents at parties and they would shake my dad's hand and say, "Oh, nice to meet you, Dr. Shaheen." And my dad, because he's also a trailblazer, he would say, "I'm not a doctor. This is my wife. She's the doctor," right? And I think that's what the privilege of having men like that, of having my dad, and then now seeing that, so I pick somebody else who's like that too, right? And I think they always say, oh, behind a great man is an amazing woman. Well, you know what? I think it goes the other way too.
Of course.
Behind a successful woman is a line of men that are holding her up. So I think when we talk about women empowerment, women self-determination, women moving forward, what we're really talking about is men that are loving us, that are supporting us, that are doing the dishes, that are cleaning, that are cooking, that are getting us cough syrup when we don't feel well.
Basically, running this world or running these communities, or we need a men and women both, right?
Like working together.
It's the teamwork, right?
Definitely.
It was never just for one-sided, right?
Yeah, and I think it's more fun that way too. And I think we can love each other better this way.
Understand each other, love each other, support each other. Right?
Exactly, yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Yameena.
Thank you so much, Saima. This was such a pleasure. I really enjoyed chatting with you. Thank you.
This program is sponsored by We Donate Foundation. We Donate Foundation is around for the last few years, and they're helping the communities. Their food drive is open every Saturday, 12 to 3. You guys can call if you want to set up an appointment and want to see someone. That number is on the screen. Again, it's We Donate Foundation. And thank you very much for watching today's show. And thank you very much, Yameena, for coming in today.
Thank you for having me, Saima. It was my pleasure.
It's nice to see you. Same here. And we'll see you, inshallah, again with more information.
Perfect. And I hope your viewers have a great day. Thank you so much for watching, everyone.
Thank you.